Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Peter, hi, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining and for taking the time this afternoon. I'm just going to, there we go. Cool. I hope you all having a good day, and I'm glad to hear everything is good in the Netherlands, Peter. I hope you're all managing to stay safe and sane during this time. One thing that's been keeping me going and keep helping me is keeping active. So working out, running, and doing some physical exercise in and around the house. Destroying the lawn in the front yard, but that's probably something I can worry about in the future. For now, I just need to remain sane. And definitely, I hope you guys are doing okay during this time. And if you are the active type, I hope that you are managing to get a good workout in. Hello, Adil. Thank you for joining. Cool. It's great to have all of you on board. I see there's still some people steaming in here, which is great. Very happy to see that. Truly appreciate your time. Okay, and I'm sure everyone can hear me. I know Peter gave me or said hello and responded to me asking him how he's doing. I hope everyone else can hear me. If one or two of you can just give me a thumbs up, but I'm sure things are all good. There's a yes, there's a all good. Cool. Thank you so much for your response. Brilliant. Okay, guys, so today we are venturing off. Cool. So it seems like everyone can hear me. Good stuff. But today we are venturing off down a little Lightroom tutorial path. And it's quite a basic one, but quite an important one. A lot of the time people think Lightroom as a software is just editing photos and making them look good so that you can share them out with the world. So Photoshop's baby sister. And in a sense, it is that. And it really is a powerful tool when it comes to enhancing the look and feel of one's images. But there is a lot more to it. One being it helps you sort and categorize all your images and keep them in one place, which will keep them safe and also maintain a good and steady and somewhat easier workflow. I don't know if any of you have worked on Photoshop solely and not on Lightroom. Trying to keep track of your images can be a bit messy when you work only in Photoshop. Whereas Lightroom, its greatest tool is to help you sort, categorize, and then speed up your workflow when it comes to sorting and getting rid of junk and keeping the good stuff. And that's what we're going to chat about today, is how one can use the particular shortcuts in Lightroom to speed up your workflow and to obviously rate your images. So before I jump into Lightroom, you need to remember that everyone's workflow is going to be different, and the way you're going to use these particular tools will also be very different. So this is going to come down to your personal workflow and your personal touch and feel when it comes to your personal Lightroom catalog. So what I'm going to run through today are a few of the shortcut keys that you can use to speed up your workflow. So make sure you've got a piece of paper, pen or pencil, so that you can note these down, because it really does help. And I use this process a lot when it comes to my workflow in Lightroom. And I think a lot of you will agree with me in saying that taking the actual photograph is the easy part. The tough part is when you get back to camp and you've got 1,000 images to sort through. That's what takes the time. That's what gives you a headache and a backache. is sitting in front of that computer trying to sort through all of this. And fortunately, Lightroom has a nice quick, or relatively quick, depending on how many photographs you've taken, method in which you can sort through the junk, get rid of it, and then thereafter rate your images and categorize them as you feel fit. Remember, this comes down to personal preference. So I'm sure you've all got your pen and paper handy now, and I think I am going to jump into Lightroom real quick. There we go. Come on. Cool. There's Lightroom. Perfect. I'm going to keep this up here somewhere. Okay. So you will see that today I have put together a little collection rating webinar. So this is just a random selection of images from both my personal life, as you can see on the top, my career being the wildlife photography side of things and safaris, and then the creative side of things down here. Okay, so what I usually do, as soon as I import a load of images, I will go through and sort the stuff I want to keep and the stuff that I do not want to keep, the stuff I want to chuck away for good. Okay, and the way I usually do this is I will enlarge the images. So there we go. And now there's a few ways in which you can do this. The way I find that is the quickest and most efficient way of rating these is I use two keys, one being P, one being the X key. But before I get started with anything, I will push and select my cap lock button. So I'll activate my cap lock. Reason being is because now as soon as I start picking an X rating, so marking them as a picked flag, one I want to keep, or an X, which is a rejected flag, ones I do not want to keep, automatically once I hit one of these buttons, it will jump to the next image. So right now, looking at this image, okay, so all of these images are ones I want to keep. Just for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to pick some and I'm going to reject some. So remember, P is going to be your picked image, X is going to be your rejected image. So for the purpose of this exercise, let's run through this. Okay, looking at this image, it is a bit hazy back there. No one's really looking too happy. It's not the best photograph. So I'm going to hit X. Notice how that automatically jumped to the next image. Let me just open up this toolbar at the bottom here so that you can see this, the scroll as well. Okay, this image, well lit, looks pretty cool. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to hit P. Now that is going to pick the image for me. If I hit G, it takes me back to grid view. Just before we move on, notice what it does here. Your rejected flag is a black flag in the top left of this thumbnail, and your picked flag, the ones you want to keep, is a little white flag. Okay. Also, something else that happens to your rejected flag is that, or your rejected images, is that it dulls it out over here. So you can see it's not well lit up or illuminated anymore. It puts like a grayscale kind of filter over the front of it, telling us that this is an image that you want to get rid of. Okay, so let's quickly run through these. No one's really looking. It's a cool zebra shot, but there's no eye contact. It's not the best image. I'm going to X-rate that. Pretty cool memory. I'm going to push P, and I'm going to keep that. Pretty cool action shot. I'm going to pick that. That's also pretty cool. I'm going to pick that. It's not the best quality, so I'm going to delete that one. I'm going to reject that one. Keep that. Keep that. That was a cool moment. Fun times. It's out of focus. It's a cool image. That's a great image. I'm going to pick that. So I'm going to quickly run through all of these, and then I'm going to show you how to go. I see there's a question that's popped through. Let's have a quick look. Okay, it's not allowing me to open this question now. So I'm going to get to the Q&A at the end of this, if you don't mind. But I see there is a question that's popped through. I don't know why it's not allowing me to open it. That is quite Frustrating. Okay, I'm going to keep this. This is quite a cool image. Okay, we're moving on to wildlife now. Love those colors. Love that. Oh, what a beautiful moment. I'm going to pick all of these and keep them. Love this. Okay, let's say, for example, this image was not sharp. I'm going to reject it. I'm going to keep that one by pushing P. Okay, you can't really see what's happening here too much. So I'm going to reject it, give it the X key. Love the symmetry here. Push P to pick it. I'm going to keep that, keep this like that. Say, for example, I don't like this because Mom's not looking at me. I'm going to select X and it is going to reject it for me. I really like that moment. I'm going to flag that, flag that. Beautiful moment, this. All right, the grass is annoying me, for example. I'm going to push X and reject it. I'm going to push X and reject it. It's too busy. I like this image. I'm going to hit the flag. Like the symmetry here again. I'm going to push P and hit that flag. Ooh, let's say, for example, we're on this image and by accident, you hit X. Okay, I see there's another question that's popped through. So I don't know if there's maybe a technical issue. I'm going to stop sharing just for now. And I just, where's my, see it sometimes. Why is there no mention of delete, see it sometimes? What do you mean, why is there no mention of delete, Peter? I'm not too sure what you mean by that, but once we get to deleting these files, we can touch back on that. So let me get back to sharing the screen with all of you. Okay, so now remember what we did is on this particular image, I rejected it. I hit X by accident. And you're like, oh, I need that image. I want it back. I do not want to get rid of it. Remember, because we've activated our caps locks, it is going to jump to the next image automatically. So quite simply, is you just hit your left key. It'll take you back to that lion image. And if you want to undo either a picked image or a rejected image, just hit the U key for undo. And as soon as I do that, boom, jumps to the next image. And you will notice if I hit G, this guy doesn't have a rating anymore. The rejection flag is gone. There's also no picked flag. So let's go and pick that. Okay, this is too washed out for me, for example. I'm going to X that. I'm going to keep this one, keep that one. This isn't that great. Give it an X. I like that. I like that. I don't like this. So I'm just going to speed through this really quickly, just so that we can get to the next step here. And there you have it. Cool. I've run through this selection of images and I have given a few of them a picked flag, ones I want to keep, remember, and then the ones I want to delete, I hit X for that and it puts a little rejected flag up on the top left. Okay, so now, say for example, these were 1,000 images of your morning safari. You've now sorted throughout all of these images nice and quickly, but now you want to go and get rid of these images. And Peter, I think this may come to your question. Now that we have tags on them, one being a rejection flag and the other tag is a picked flag, if you go into attributes, which is in the top center over here, click on that, you will notice that just below the word attributes, you have your different kinds of flags, edits, ratings, and color tags. Right now, all we want to focus on are these particular flags. Reason being is because we want to get rid of the junk. So right now, nothing is selected. So it is going to show you the whole sequence of that day's shoot. So what you want to do is go and select this rejection flag, and then all of the images that you have rejected are going to pop up. And you can then do a second run through by double clicking and running through this if you have the time to see, okay, damn, I didn't want to get rid of that particular image, simply just hit the U key and it will remove the rejected flag. I'm going to do that now, and notice how this image is going to disappear out of this collection. Reason being is because I removed the rejected flag. Okay, so what you do now, once you've worked through them for the second time and you're 100% confident that all of these are the ones you want to get rid of and delete, simply highlight the first one, push and hold Command, and tap the A key, so A for Apple, and you will see it highlights that whole selection. So now these are all the images that I want to delete because they're junk and I do not want them. You then simply, because they're all selected, push the backspace key or the delete key, and they will be removed. Right now, you'll see they just disappeared off the screen. Usually you get an option that pops up if you're doing this through folders. Remember, I'm doing this through collections. If you're doing this through folders, a tab's going to pop up and it's going to say remove or just remove from disk. So the difference between those two are, if you just click remove, it's going to remove it out of Lightroom, but those raw files are still going to be sitting on your hard drive or wherever you're storing them. What I usually do is, because these are junk images and I do not want to get them back ever because they're blurred or I've cut the lines half its face off, whatever it may be, I delete from disk and they get deleted forever. And once you click that, a screen like this is going to pop up. So obviously nothing that says here no photos match this filter. Reason being is because we got rid of all of them. So if you go and unselect that little flag up there, you've got no more filters in here. Now you've got all your picked images back. Okay, I see there's two more questions that have popped up here. I just want to go and check. I'm going to stop sharing just for now and see what these questions are. It may still be Peter's. Okay, yeah, it's just a reminder that Peter's questions are still open. I'm going to share the screen again. Okay, so now, next step is, because we have deleted all the junk and you do not have them with you anymore, they're gone forever. Now it is time to do phase 2 and run through it again. And this is where you get to star rate your images. So you'll see there's little blank stars up here because we've still got the attribute slider open. So you can either stay there or just go click on none and that will fall away. And now you can start running through your star rating of images. And you can do it one of many ways. You can either enlarge this image, double click on it, and then work through it like that. You can increase the size of the thumbnails and do it like that. For the purpose of this exercise, to increase the speed and the workflow of this, I'm going to keep these enlarged thumbnails and I'm going to run through it. So now you can rate your images, and this all again comes down to you how you want to do this. You can either give it no stars, keep it on 0, and then you can give it 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 stars. Usually people would obviously rate their top and best images with a 5-star, and the ones that they're unsure of and not too sure of keeping, they will then keep it on 0 or with a 1-star. So let's run through this. And remember, with cap locks activated, as soon as I give this guy a 1-star, because I'm not too sure if I want to keep that image, it automatically jumps to the next image. Again, here, this is a cool memory, so I'm going to give it a 2-star. It's a great action shot, so I'm going to give it a 2-star. Not too sure if I want to keep that 1-star, and also quite dull, 1, 1, 1. This is a great memory, 2. And this is how I can go on. You can then go and personalize your workflow however you see fit. But for example, here, when I get to wildlife, what then can further help you is color labeling your images. So for example, I've now, say for example, I've ran through all of these images, every single one of them, and I have given them their star ratings. And now what I would like to do is See, there's a chat that's come through. What key to star them? Okay, that's a great question, Nick. What keys were you using pressing to star them? So basically what I was doing is you'll push keys 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So if I go, I'm going to deactivate my caps lock. I'm going to use this image, for example. If I hit my 1 key, you will notice I only have 1 star rating. If I hit 2, it gives me 2 stars. If I hit 3, 4, or 5. Okay, so it's keys 1 through to 5. So 1 star is key 1, 3 star will be key 3, 5 star will be key 5. If you want to get rid of any of these stars and you don't want star ratings on them anymore, simply hit 0 and it takes your star rating back to a 0. All right, great question. That it slipped my mind, and thank you for asking, Nick. Okay, now say for example I've run through all of these images. I've now given them their star ratings. If, for example, you come back later and say, okay, all my 1-star images are the ones I'm not too sure of keeping, you can later on go and select all of these and then start giving them the rejected flag by pushing X on all the 1-star rated images. What could increase that workflow is if your 1 stars are ones you are not too sure of keeping, if you go back into attributes, without clicking any flags now, because remember, all of them are picked, all of them have a white flag. If you now just go and select your 1-star images, the ones you weren't too sure of keeping, there's a lot less of them in here. So then you can go and X-rate or reject every single one of those 1-star images. Okay, so say for example I've run through this whole list of images, sequence of images, and I now furthermore would like to categorize them into more specific areas. You can then start using color coding. Okay, so your color codings run from key number 6, key 7, key 8, and key 9. Okay, I know for a lot of you out there, if you are like me, you also do quite a bit of photography when you are back home and not only while on safari. So this could be quite a good trick to divide your personal life photographs from your wildlife photographs to your creative photographs, for example. So for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to divide this whole sequence up between personal life, wildlife photography, guests on safari, and then my creative photography that has recently started biting me. So what you can then do is, if you have a massive folder with a lot of images in them, like this one, you can go and select your first personalized image, not personalized, your first personal home-based image, and then go to your last one, push and hold Shift, click on that image, and it is only going to select the images that form part of my personal life. What I can then do is hit key number 6, and you will notice that all of those personal life images get a red label attached to them. Okay, so for example, if we have now gone through, obviously this is only a small little collection of images, but if you go through to my main, here we go, my main folder, I've got, in this catalog, I've got 43,789 images. That is a lot of images. It's primarily wildlife. So if I'm looking for specific personal images, because I label them all red, it is quite easy. What I can then do is go up to attributes and select that red color, block over there, and it gives me only the images that have got the red label added to them, which I use as my personal life photographs, is the red label. red for love, yay. Okay, moving on to wildlife. Now you can have the second key line, which is number 7, which will then set it as yellow. Okay, but usually because I've got so much wildlife images, I don't go and select all my wildlife images with a yellow key. I will only go and select my wildlife images that are ready for Instagram, for example, and ready for blog posts. Okay, so what I will do for Instagram, I use the yellow label as seen over here. So because of these beautiful colors, saturated colors on a Madikwe afternoon sunset, this is going to be great for Instagram. So I'm going to hit 7. 7 being, oh, I just removed it. So that's how you remove your color labels. If you don't want that to be yellow, you just hit 7 again and it will remove it. But I want this to be yellow because this image is going to be extremely powerful on Instagram because of that saturation. It's really powerful, moody, and it punches out quite well, particularly as a small thumbnail. Okay, you can then manually move over to the next image. And then for this, for example, I will say, okay, this will be great for both Instagram and a blog post, but I would like to use it in a blog post first. Reason being is if I enlarge this a little bit, it's telling a great story. I'm currently writing a blog on natural framing, using natural elements for natural framing. And this, for example, is going to be one of those images. So I'm going to give it a green label, which is key number 8. And all my green labeled images in my catalog are ones that are going to be used for blogs in the future. Okay, then moving on into guests out on safari, I will then start using key number 9, which will give it a blue label. Key number 9 gives it a blue label. But you can see I'm manually pushing and moving across to the next image here. Remember, if you push and hold Shift key, activate your cap locks, and you use any one of stars, 1 to 5 star rating your images, or 6 to 7 color coding your images, as well as picking and rejecting with P and X, it will automatically jump to the next image. So it's going to speed up your workflow. So for example, this particular image, front on a massive bull elephant in the Amboseli. I think this is going to be a great image for Instagram. So what I will do is I will give it a yellow label by clicking 7. But notice how it jumped to this next image again, yes? It's because I've activated my cap locks. Again, this image is going to work extremely well on Instagram because of that punchy color coming out. So I'm going to hit 7, give it a yellow color label. This guy, for example, this is going to be a good image for a blog because of symmetry. So I'm going to hit 8, again 7 to give it a yellow color label for Instagram because of the beautiful color. Let's say monochrome photography and how to process these images in a blog. I'm going to hit 8, 8, and 8. And so that process is going to go throughout my wildlife images. But if you are like me and you are quite adventurous, we have now run out of color codes. You've got red for my personal life. I've got yellow for my Instagram images that are ready to go out. My green label for images that are ready to be shared out onto blog. And then my blue labels, which are my guests in the field images. Now I've run out of colors, but I ventured off into the world of creative photography. So now what do? You will now have to furthermore go and set another alternative for this. And what I mean by this is you can then choose any color that you wish. So I don't have a massive amount of guests in the field images. So what I will do is I will use key number 9. Okay, but now you're going to say, Mike, you're going to get confused between your guests in the field images and your creative shot images. this is correct as they currently stand. For most of my guests in the field images, I usually give them all a 3-star image or rating with a blue label. Reason being is now, because I've ventured off into a new line of photography, I'm going to then give them a blue label, this creative side of things, but I'm going to standardize it throughout and give them a 2-star rating as per default, if I may. So let's just push and hold. There we go. So I'm going to give every single one of these creative ones a 2-star just by tapping 2. And then you can either go through all of them and just click 9, and with your cap lock selected, it's going to jump through it automatically. Or you can just select the first one, push and hold shift, select the last one, and now push 9, and it sets a blue label to every single one of those images. So I'm just going to quickly keep, let me go and give this guy 7, 7, 7. That's a cool symmetry. Give that an 8. Okay, now they all got colors to them. That's also a cool blog one. Okay, so now what you're going to see, because we're still in attributes up here, if I now go and select the red color up here, I'm only seeing my personalized or my personal life images. If I'm sitting and saying, oh, I need to get some images on Instagram, if I do this in my full catalog over here and go and select that yellow folder or color, all my process and punchy and good looking images are going to pop up, and then I can go and select from that selection which one I want to share out onto Instagram. If I'm feeling a bit demotivated and I need to blog about something, I then go and click on that green button, and these are images that I previously had selected and said, okay, these are great for blogging purposes, and I can pick up inspiration off of that. And so it will go on. Okay, but now you will see that I have got my blue labels confused here between guest images with a 3-star and creative images with the 2 stars. So if I go and select 3, blue label still selected, 3 stars just selected, it is only going to give me my guest art in the field images. All right, so that's basically it through when it comes to how to work with your rating process on Lightroom. And I hope that this has answered a few of your questions you might have. But I'm going to open up the floor to Q&A now. If any of you have questions regarding Lightroom, sorting through your images, and just the whole process that this involves. In the future, what I'm going to do is, well, it's actually on Thursday, I'm hosting a webinar where I will be chatting about survey mode. So once this whole process is complete, you've deleted the junk, but you've got a big sequence of images, and now how do you choose the best one? I'll be chatting about that on Thursday. So if you have any questions regarding survey mode, please tune in for that one. It'll be a lot of fun. But I see there are, okay, it's Peter asking again here. Doing all the stars and colors, how do you know where a photo was taken, i.e. year or 2 later? Stars, okay. How would you process work if you shoot JPEG or RAW? Okay, Hannah, how would this process work if you shoot JPEG or RAW? Exactly the same. Oh, are you meaning JPEG and RAW? Okay, I think that's what you mean. So what's going to happen is once you work this process, and if you are shooting RAW and JPEG, let me quickly go back into Lightroom here. You are going to have 2 of each images, one being a RAW file, one being a JPEG. And Peter, I think this is going to answer your question as well. the way I usually work my picking and rejecting process is I will have it on a full screen such as that. I will close all these tabs on the sides, because once they're out, it obviously decreases the size of that image. So I want the full resolution. I want to see it all. So what I usually do is work like this. And for yourself, Hannah and Peter, for both of you, this will answer your question. If you hit the I button, can you see that information, I for information, pop up on the left? So right here, I've got mine set up to date, time, and then obviously the size of the image. If I click it a second time, it gives me the settings that were used for that particular image. Okay, and this can be customized. If you go up into File, I think it is, this, where will it be? Oh, it's hiding behind. I wonder if I can move this tab. I'm not too sure. There we go. View. So, oh, I need to just, here we go. Loop mode. So info 1 and 2. So it's under view. Okay. Come all the way down to the bottom. And then you can go and, where do you, view options maybe? There we go. So if you go into view, view options, or library view options, it gives you your information. By default, it should give you the date and time. And then if you hit I again to take you to info number 2, it should give you your camera settings by default. But all of these, there are so many to choose from. And you can go and customize this and personalize it as you feel the need to. So I hope this answers your question, Peter, in terms of when this image was shot. It gives you the date. And then Hannah, for your question, you had asked, what if you shoot RAW and JPEG? So this is where you are going to see this happening. So as you can see, this image I think was taken with a point and shoot. You can see it's a JPEG image. It's giving me JPG. If I move to that as well, there was a phone pic. These are all phone pics. So they're all JPEG. But as soon as I get to some of my RAW images, you will see that it says CR2, which is camera RAW file. So basically, if you shot the scene, Hannah, in RAW and JPEG, and you imported everything into Lightroom, while you're doing this process of picking and rejecting your images, you will see if you pick your RAW file, CR2, if you hit P and it jumps to the next one, which is the identical elephant shot, just a JPEG, it will not say CR2 over here, it will say JPG for JPEG. I hope that answers your question. If that's not clear, please let me know. I can explain that again. It seems like I always have to stop or change over to stop sharing my screen to see these questions for some reason. I don't know if that's just a glitch in the system or if that's just how this works. All right, Peter, I hope that has answered your question. Sam, you have asked, once rated your images with a 0 or a 1 star, is this for you and I have to delete that pick rating? Why don't you flag them before with an X? Okay, great question. I didn't flag them with an X initially because usually when you work through, or when you're out in the field and you're photographing, you take quite a large sequence of images. You shoot like crazy. And usually what happens is you get a lot of similar looking images. So if I'm pondering and looking at an image and saying, yes, this isn't entirely perfectly sharp, I'm not sure if I have a better one, but for now, I'm going to give it a picked flag, and I will come, or a 1 star, and I'll come back to it later. Work through that process again, and then later on, if I do find that I have a lioness chasing a wildebeest image which isn't too sharp, and 5 or 6 images down the line, once the wildebeest are turned, I now have a pin sharp lioness chasing a wildebeest image, then I can go back and delete that 1 starred or no starred, 0 starred image and get rid of it. Because you don't want to do that, because you have to do it in sequences. So as soon as you do that initial import and you run through picking and rejecting images, it's a very speedy process, or for me at least, because I just want to get it done, because it takes so much time. But I want to eliminate the risk of potentially losing something that could have been worthwhile keeping. So I will work through that process really quickly, and then there's a phase 2 of star rating your images, and this is where you have a lot less of a sequence to work with of lion chasing wildebeest. But in the beginning, they aren't pin sharp and the best. Later on, they are. But you want to keep those just for the meantime, just to make sure that you still have, or you have secured better looking, sharper, higher quality images. I hope that answers your question, Sam. Thank you for that. That was a really good question. Makes so much more sense to me now. You're most welcome, Sam. There we go. Okay, Hannah. How would your process work if you shoot? Okay, I've answered that. JPEG and RAW. There's another question from Hannah. Would you rate the RAWs and keep the JPEG separate folder without rating, or is the rating reflected for both the RAW and the JPEG, as they have the same name, or is there just no sense in shooting both formats at once? Okay, so in my personal opinion, Hannah, is if I have guests shooting both RAW and JPEG images, what I do is I would often recommend that they only import the RAW images into Lightroom. Reason being is because if you look at a RAW and a JPEG image is what I often refer to as a shoot and use image, because when you take that image out in the field, when you look at the back of your camera, your LCD screen, this is a JPEG image that you are seeing. So therefore, there's a few things that are being adjusted to that file which are destructive, which means you cannot change it. So the saturation, so the beautiful colors in the image, that's how it is going to remain looking as it is on the back of your screen on your JPEG image or your JPEG file. Your saturation, your contrast, certain levels of clarity, white balance. So if your white balance was off and you have a pink leopard, with a JPEG image, your leopard's going to stay pink. There's no way that you're going to be able to get your leopard looking back to its normal healthy color. Whereas on a RAW file, so look at a JPEG image as being a bag of ready mixed muffin mix or cake mix. All the ingredients are within it. You just have to add some water, mix it up, and then bake it. Whereas a RAW file are all of those same ingredients within this bag, but all separate. So you have your eggs, you have your flour, you have your sugar, everything is separate. And that's why you can do a lot more work with a RAW file in Lightroom than you can with a JPEG image. So if it were up to me, I would keep them entirely separate and only have my RAW files representing in Lightroom, because what would happen in the long run is obviously JPEG images are quite a lot smaller than RAW files, but if you do keep your JPEG and your RAW images on the same hard drive and import everything into Lightroom, you just in turn filling up hard drive space a lot quicker, and therefore eating up space for what could have been there for more RAW files further down the line. But that's just my personal opinion. And if it is up to you, then you had asked if you import both of them, or is the rating reflected both for RAW and JPEG? So this I'm not entirely sure of, because I have never imported RAW and JPEG files myself. I only shoot RAW. So I'm not too sure if you give the raw image a particular color or star rating, if it will automatically be applied to your JPEG image. I don't see it being the case, because while you're doing this process, Lightroom's only referencing the certain image you're sitting on. And you say, yes, they are named the same, their number sequence is the same, but remember at the back of it, one is going to be dot if you shoot Canon, CR2, which is your Canon RAW file, and the JPEG will be that same number sequence, but .jpg. So therefore, they aren't really named the same, because one ends as a RAW file, the other ends as a JPEG. But go give it a try and see, but I really don't think that it will number both of them with the same star rating or give them the exact same color label. But go give it a try, and please get in touch with me and let me know what you figured out and what works. I can also over the weekend go shoot a sequence of JPEG and RAW files and go play around with it. But as I've mentioned, I've never shot JPEG and RAW together, but I don't see them. You'll have to do them both, or all of them individually, put it that way. But great question, and thank you for that. Cool, thanks. Okay, I've opened. Okay, I'm done with that one, done with that one. I think, yeah. Okay, is there any more questions coming in from any of you online? I see there's quite a few late arrivals to the show. Welcome. If you have missed this episode, I will be putting it out onto Instagram TV. It will be live out there as well. So if you're only tuning in now, and you can catch up on this a bit later on Instagram. If you have any friends that you think might find this useful, please let them keep an eye out on the Wildlife Instagram page, because it'll be coming Instagram TV soon. Hannah's got one more question around color coding. There are a few more colors on the top. Yes, magenta, gray, black, and can they be used as well? They can do. This is a great question. Let's quickly go back into Lightroom. Up here, come on. Let's take this to the top. Okay, let's go and have a look. If I go into, there's this little screen. I don't know if you can all see it up there, but I am struggling to reach certain panels. There we go. Okay. Okay, let me just move this down. Okay, I see that. Okay, so I think what happened here, 3 stars higher, 3 stars higher. I'm actually going to lie to you. I don't know what will happen here if I go there and hit. No, that didn't do what I wanted it to do. No, that's just decreasing the thumbnail size. I see there are more colors up here, Hannah. Yes, I cannot access this. Okay, how do you get away? There we go. Okay. Attributes. So I see there are white colors. Yeah, I'm just not too sure what the shortcut key is for these particular colors. I don't think, let's have a quick look here. No. Shift them. No. You have got my tongue twisted there, Hannah. I have absolutely no idea how to activate those color codes, those grays. And so, as I've mentioned, I've only recently ventured down the line of let's close that, needing more color labels. So I need to do some research on that. And on my next episode later this week, when I chat about survey mode and how you can go and select the best possible image out of sequence, I will have that answer for you. But I have never ever seen, or I've never made use of those color labels. And Sam, just want to say, a very good webinar to start with Lightroom now. I always struggled to start with it. Yes, it is quite a complicated process in the beginning. I'm very happy that this was of use, but please, if any of you on here do have questions regarding Lightroom, or you're uncertain of how to start it up, or how to put images into folders and keep good order, or just edit your images in general. While I have launched a brand new product today, actually, with regards to you, all of you out there, thank you again for joining, being able to join either myself, Johan, Gerry, Andrew, whoever has availability, you can join us online and secure our slot sessions with us here on Zoom, where we can then assist you with your Lightroom questions one-on-one. So it's a one-on-one tuition. If you would like more information on this, please be sure that you get in touch with me either via email or Instagram. My email is michael@wild-i.co.za, and my Instagram is michael.laubscher. And yeah, please send me an email if you have questions regarding those private tuitions online. I can then send you the link. You can then see my availability, and we can secure you a spot to start helping you out on Lightroom a little bit more. I see, thanks for today, speed up my rating for sure. Cuts plus color rating. Nick, you're most welcome. Thank you so much for joining in. And Hannah, you're most welcome. And thank you for your great questions. It's always appreciated. And if there are no further questions, it seems like the Q&A poll has gone a little bit quiet. Peter, you're most welcome. Always great having you on board. But it seems like everyone has no further questions. I would like to thank you all again for joining me on this webinar this evening, and I hope that it has helped you speed up your rating process just a little bit. Please remember to stay tuned on Thursday, where I'm going to take this whole process just that little step further into how do I now select the best image from a particular sequence using survey mode. This is also going to be a great help, so be sure that you tune in. And remember, if you are looking for private tuition, one-on-one online here on Zoom, get in touch with me and I can send you all the need-to-know information. But I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to chatting to you all in future episodes. Lindsay, you're most welcome. Anne, you're most welcome. Great having you on board. And Sam, you're most welcome. Thank you for your questions. You all have been amazing, and I look forward to chatting to you all in future episodes. Have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and stay safe, stay happy, and most importantly, stay positive. Have a great one, and chat to you soon. Bye-bye.